first, my initial instinct was to change who I was in order to appease her. But then I realized I don't have to be anyone I don't want to be. And if somebody, especially somebody that's claiming to love me, is expecting me to be a different person, then they're probably not my person. This episode of the Inside Perspective, what the theme that it's giving for me is SexuaLiy, the Kewchie Chronicles. The Kewchie Chronicles. I've been wanting to figure out a way to address a lot of the thoughts that I've had in my mind when it comes to me and my Kewchie. And just sex in general and sexuality and what that means specifically for me. I don't know where to start, but the first thing that's coming in my mind is to talk about my personal sexuality. So as a kid, I've known since anybody could know the understanding of having an attraction or liking someone. I've always liked both genders. It was never like, ooh, boys. It was never just, ooh, boys are cute. It was boys are cute and girls are cute. It's always been that way for me. I think whenever I got into middle school, it was about fitting in. And I was doing a lot of things to kind of just fit in unknowingly. At the time, I had perceived it as this is what I think I want to do, and he is kind of cute, so like let's just go for it. I had my little crushes on girls, especially playing basketball. I mean, I played basketball damn near all up and down the East Coast, from Tennessee to fucking New York, and y'all was cute. Y'all was mad cute, but at the time it was like petrifying to even think about talking or addressing none of my teammates, because that just don't shit where you eat. But we playing another team, and shorty little cute number 5 with your number was something that I would think of, but I didn't have the confidence or even think that it'd be safe for me to do that. Like, would I get in trouble? Would I be met with anger? Would this bitch want to punch me in the face because why am I stepping to her? We playing, we in the middle of the game right now. Like, I don't know. So I had the feelings. I always knew that, but I suppressed them a lot because it was a lot easier to blend in at the time than it was to stand out. I think about the things that I had done during middle school, during that early high school, that 6th, 7th, 8th grade time period, where I feel like, I think it's also science, but we're like raging hormonal, super horny individuals from like 6th to 8th grade, just because our bodies are changing, puberty, we hot and heavy, hot and ready like a Little Caesars pizza. Like, it's just happening. Well, let me not say all, because I don't want to speak for everyone. I'm gonna speak for me. For me, Aaliyah was ready like a Little Caesars Little Caesars pizza. Okay, and it excited me, and I loved it. And I may or may not have sent a few pictures or animations. I'm not mad that I ever took the pictures. I'm mad at who I sent them to. I never was putting myself down for the fact that I did it. I just really wish that I had the understanding of the type of people I was sending it to. 8th grade, this whole ordeal happened, actually, that one of my friends was curious as to if I was sending pictures to my then boyfriend at the time. And anytime she asked me, I denied it because, one, it's none of your business, and two, it's something I'm trying to keep on the low because this is for me and my man. And, so one day, I never will forget this day. She came up to me in the middle of the hallway, and she turned her phone towards me, and it had every single picture or video that I had ever sent to my boyfriend. And I was crushed, one, because he was to not show anyone or tell anyone. But he had assumed, because this person was my close friend at the time, that she was abreast of the situations that I was partaking in. She wasn't. Long story short, I ended up actually, crazy enough, telling my mom. I told my mom what happened and what I did. Her and I had a conversation, and she spoke to me in the best way she knew how, with the information that she had at the time. Um, I was on punishment and trouble type of thing, which again, that's why I said she did the best she could with the knowledge that she had. But now looking back, I wish I had me for eighth grade Lee, to kind of explain to her that it is completely okay to be sexually confident in your body. Nothing wrong with that. But we have to understand, one, the age that we're at, and then two, the people we decide to share it with. It's a very dangerous world with having social media and texting and immediate access to people and access to their bodies via text, video, call, FaceTime, whatever. Um, and so honestly, what I would tell myself, my younger self, those days where she was so embarrassed about sharing her body in a sexual manner, that it's oh fucking K. You did nothing wrong. Not me crying. You were learning and exploring and feeling all good and hot and heavy and Little Caesars all at one time. And there wasn't a lot of options for you to go and learn in a way that was particularly more safe for you. But it's cool. It is okay. Shit happens. If anything, it was the best titties them motherfuckers have ever seen in their life. Thankfully, it didn't get, posted to social media or spread around the entire school. But nonetheless, it happened. And of course, there were the dumbasses that would be like, oh, she sent me this too. She sent me this too. And rumors and all that. Half of the motherfuckers didn't even have my phone number. But again, it's not the point. The point of this is speaking to sexuality and sex and the curiosities of it at such a young age, and how we come to learn about sex and how we come to learn to be sexual with our bodies is either through porn or actually doing it. So there is no fucking book for like teenagers curious about sex. Maybe I need to fucking write one, but young teenagers curious about sex and how to go about it. Cuz because we don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're doing, but we're going off of how we feel. And then there comes in the outside world and the different thoughts and the judgments and everything else that comes along with it whenever you come into sex. And the fact that sex is looked at as something that's happening to you, more so for women, than something that's happening with you and a partner. Um, And so to go further, to dive further into the Coochie Chronicles, let's fast forward to college. Let's fast forward to college, or maybe we could do late high school first and then into college. So I continued dating men all the way up until I was in high school. I had a fling or a something. This woman basically, I had a something with someone. Long story short, the woman that I had intertwined myself with at the time was in no place prepared for the type of woman that I was. I believe that she wanted me to be like this stud and super masculine woman, super masculine person, but I'm not that. I have those parts to me, but I don't solely identify based off of masculinity. And so she even, like, one time I wore a dress and I sent her a picture and she just was like, what, like, do you like it was just like, what the fuck, because usually all I wear is sweatpants, long sleeves, t-shirts, like I be chilling, cooling. But this time around I was like, I think I was stepping out to one of my uncle's parties or something like that, and so I got a little cute. And seeing her reaction of that, at first my initial instinct was to change who I was in order to appease her. But then I realized I don't have to be anyone I don't want to be. And if somebody, especially somebody that's claiming to love me, is expecting me to be a different person, then they're probably not my person. And so there was that. And then again, I had a great relationship with a young man who's still my dog to this day. As I was finishing high school, and then once I got to college is when I truly allowed myself to explore my attraction to women. I'm up at college, none of these motherfuckers know me. They barely know where I'm from. All we trying to do is just kick it and have a good time. And so I was in a relationship for the majority of my freshman year. And then that relationship ended up ending. And then I got active. I got active, and not like I'm saying I went around fucking everybody that I could find, every woman that I could find, but it was this deep fire that I had in my stomach that was just burning and yearning for the opportunity to have exchanges with women, whether they were sexual, emotional, intellectual. I just wanted more from women, more than I had ever wanted from men. And so for the longest, I told myself I was bisexual. I like men, I like women. It is what it is. And now I'm to a point to where it's like, I don't care what you got between your legs. I'm really, really more so concerned of what's between your ears. What are your coping mechanisms? How do you know when you're triggered? Like that's where I was at. I had been through so much trauma and bullshit when it came to relationships, and trust me, I'm getting to the Kewchie Chronicles. Y'all just, I love to give background. But there was just so much that I had been through that it was to a point to where now I was like, I want a person that no longer bleeds on me from cuts that I did not give them. And I know that I knew that I needed to give certain people time to heal from things that they had been through, but I also knew that it wasn't my responsibility to help them heal. And so I'm a big person of removing myself. I mean, that doesn't mean that I stop loving you. That also doesn't mean that I'm not still in love with you, but what I won't tolerate is disrespect. Whenever I was finally able to explore as many women as I wanted to, and as whenever a lot of these women on campus found out that I was no longer in a relationship, they swarmed me like shit on flies. And it was something I was not prepared for, not used to, like, at all. Like, don't get me wrong, I know I'm a beautiful, attractive, intelligent woman. But I didn't think that everybody else knew that about me as well. And so the attention I started to receive, I was like, all right, this is cool, but I try not to let it go to my head. But some of it went to my head, but the rest went to my coochie. Okay. So I started to, because I hadn't had sex with that many women either. And so let's just fuck it and make it a story time. So one of the people that I had started getting tied up into, was also new to women. And so I don't judge and I don't discriminate. And so I wasn't going to just not fuck with Shorty because she ain't never been with a woman before, but I also knew that I was craving the type of intimacy that didn't need to go through a trial period of do I like women or do I not. But I guess I attracted a lot of first timers, but I think also from my ego it fed into the fact that I could tease someone. And I'm not sure if it was like bad ego or good ego, but I really enjoyed teaching and showing and exploring, because that's kind of what sex is. It's this bonding, exploring moment that I wanted to have. And so this young woman happened to be friends with another young woman that I was kind of talking to, I guess, maybe. But people tend to have a lot of conversations about me without me there. And so it came to the point to where somebody had said that I was a sex catfish. Other woman agreed, because I guess they had the expectations that if I invited them to my bed, or vice versa, that they were just going to get this full blown knock down, get it popping. I'm going to do all the work. You just sit there. I'm not that type of bitch. If you have decided to engage in sexual activity with me, and if you're laying on your back for longer than 15 minutes since we got cracking, I'm not doing nothing to you. I'm not doing nothing to you. You know what we came here to do. You knew what time it was whenever I pulled up. Like, I'm not finna sit here and play games with you. If you want to be a pillow princess and a dead fish or whatever it is, you can do that by yourself. Get whatever toys you got. Like, enjoy that time with yourself. But if you're with another person, in my eyes and my expectation, there's a back and forth. There's a communication through our bodies. And you laying there on your back the whole time is only telling me one thing. That you only want one thing. I didn't hear I'm a munch, but not like that. Okay? Not like that. And so I had a couple other interactions that were very different from those. And it was a lot of fun. At one point, I had to ask myself, am I overindulging? Because I talked about disassociation whenever it came to trauma responses, right? Excuse me. Damn. But I talked about disassociation when it came to trauma responses. And I feel like I basically removed myself from my body. And that's how I was able to have this meaningless sex and hookups and fun times, or whatever you want to call them, sneaky links. I feel like because I was so disassociated from my body that I could just plop from person to person and not feel anything from them at all. And so when it comes to my Kewchie Chronicles, I had disassociated so much that I don't even think I truly felt pleasure during my sexual interactions for a minute. I was so sad and misunderstood and displaced from myself that sex genuinely just became the physical. I didn't care who it was, how it was, where it was. It was just the fact that I was bored and I could do it. And it got me in a lot of predicaments, especially with friends. Not my friends, friends of the individuals I had hookups with that happened to be friends. But because of that disassociation, there was a point during my junior year, and I think I talked about this in my very first episode with sexual confidence, is that I had to go on a sex cleanse. It was getting to the point where I was using sex to regulate my mood, which would be qualified as an addiction. I was mad, want to smash. I was sad, want to smash. I was hungry, smash, then eat. Like, it was just like, ooh, the food tastes better after I got some head, or the food tastes better after I, got my face wet. Like, it was just, I was drowning, and I was using sex to cope. After I had the sex cleanse that was recommended to me by my therapist, it was 30 days, no sex, no masturbation, no porn, and no thoughts of sex. And so imagine coming from basically getting at it multiple times a day, watching porn, masturbating, thinking about porn in class, thinking about fucking in class, barely paying attention to my academics to get some more Kewchie, drinking, going to parties, finding more contenders. Like, it was this vicious cycle. Every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it would happen. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'd actually maybe think about school, and then as soon as Thursday, Friday hit, it was like my Kewchie was like, we're ready. It's coming. It's the weekend. We know. And I let it happen for a while because I just really wanted to explore, like that same feeling of wanting to explore whenever I was younger and we used pictures. Now I was actually using my body. A lot more safer this time now. But it was still just this need, this want for exploration and wanting more and deepening. And that's great, but only to a certain extent, because now whenever you're flailing through the exploration, there's no guidelines, no borders, no nothing. It's just like, fuck it, we ball. And it was cool for a little bit, but then it got out of control. And so the cleanse taught me, one, that I have a lot more time to think about other things when I'm not thinking about sex. Um, but the other being, I was so disconnected from my body. Like, I could have an orgasm and just walk out the room. Like, thanks, cool, appreciate it, have a good one. Maybe a little mini orgasm. It wasn't even nothing. Like, people couldn't even make me come for real. It was just like a, huh, okay, that was it. Like, I just got a hit. Like, that's how it was. And so once I had the cleanse and I was reintroducing myself back into sex, it was fucking terrible. All the old patterns that I had no longer worked, no longer made me feel good. It was a lot harder to reach climax or to even come because it showed me how, like, I can't feel my body. Like, somebody's down there giving me, trying to think of a word, fuck it. Somebody's down there giving me head, and I'm just like, I wonder what Brooks got today. Like, my brain was just everywhere but down there, and I didn't feel anything. Like, it's not like I was, I mean, damn near like I was numb, but like I felt pressure, but I didn't feel pleasure. And so I didn't want to have sex for a really long time because this shit just felt numb. It didn't feel like anything, and it was nothing to do with the partner. It had everything to do with me and recreating, or maybe even first establishing the connection that I have with my Kewchie. Basically, my journey from that point, you can tap back into that very first episode that I put out, and then bringing myself here to where I'm at today. I read a post that said, the way you touch your coochie says a lot about how you feel about yourself and your pleasure. Masturbation was something that I wasn't too into because I just wanted to feel that other person so bad. I wanted to give pleasure to that other person because I'm a big, working on it, big people pleaser. And so it always came to, like, you ain't got to get me, don't worry about it. Like, let me just do you. Just negating or pushing down or ignoring my own pleasure. And so Aaliyah had to spend a little time with Aaliyah. And I basically got connected to my coochie. I got connected to my coochie, and my sex life has taken off, to say the least. And I'm a lot more comfortable and confident. Like, shit, even talking about this lets me know that I've made such huge strides in wanting to connect with myself and deepen the relationship that I have with myself, my root chakra, my pleasure box, like whatever you want to call it, just this downward area. But it started with a class that I had taken, Love This Man to Death. But he asked us, when is a time that you ever thought about the movement of your hips or your pelvis and it not be sexual or it not be enticing? When have you just allowed that space to just be itself? Hips, pelvis, groin. Like, when have I ever allowed myself just to explore these areas for the anatomy that they have? And I was like, oh shit. I said, nah, I ain't never thought of that. I remember we was in class. I said, nah, professor, I ain't never thought of that. I see this and I see it as a way. I saw this and I saw it as a way, one, to entice people. I got all this junk in the trunk, this wagon I'm dragging. I seen it as a way to get attention, but I never seen it as a way of just existing, just being my body. And so I'm forever thankful for that class. It was called The Principles of Movement. I'm forever grateful for that class because it broke down the fundamentals of what our body is and how we can use it, and the strength that it possesses, and the magic that it is. it taught me so much. And it was like right on fucking time. Like I took that class my senior year. So after I had ninth and 10th grade, mostly in the ninth, but mostly 10th grade, what am I? Once I had my freshman, into my last semester of my freshman and sophomore year, I had the opportunity of just like doing whatever, right? You know, going out, partying, hooking up, whatever it may be. And then that sophomore year coming, doing the sexual cleanse, and then coming back and having this class. It just happened so well that it taught me how to be in touch and in tune with my body. And so I'm still working at a lot of things. A lot of them are my mental things, because even as I talk about what happened, you know, 7th, 8th grade, that shit was still traumatic as fuck. And so I had to heal myself from a mistake that I made, a poor judgment call, to say the least. And so giving myself the space, one, to forgive myself for what I'd done, forgive the individual who said what they said and did what they did. Should be right on time when you start focusing on yourself. Should be right on time. And now my coochie not numb no more. My coochie not numb no more. I spend time with myself. I only allow certain people to explore my temple, because I was letting so many different energies in, and it was hard to tell who was me and who wasn't. It was hard to tell, like, how I felt about my body. Like, it was just all this blank, dark numbness that I no longer wanted to feel. And I knew that my body had this power to feel. And I want to feel as good as I possibly can in those moments of sexual interaction. So not only just healing from the situation that happened in middle school, but other instances that I've experienced. I had to heal. I had to talk to myself. I had to touch myself. Like breathing the power back into me and my bodily autonomy, and how I want to use it, and how I want to create it, and what I want to do with it, and whom I want to share it with. So that's my Coochie Chronicle. Coochie Chronicle moment, Coochie series, part 1. Because there's many more to come, because there's such deep dives that can happen from this. But for one, I always want to start with sharing my own story. So y'all know where I'm coming from, and y'all get some background. I mean, I don't tell everything, but I do share a good bit of things that happen in my life. But I'm so proud of myself. I'm doing damn fucking good. Like, who would ever thunk? I promise you, if you'd have told eighth grade Aaliyah that she'd be talking about this on her podcast, in order to encourage others to think about the relationship that they have with, one, their body parts as them being body parts, but then also in a sexual space. What does that look like? What does that feel like? Like the intricacies, the intentionality of your being. Until next time, y'all, thank you for listening to the Coochie Chronicles.